What's up, guys? Thomas Mott here. Welcome into a shocking Thomas Mott show early on a Wednesday morning. You see the headline, you know the news. Darius Slay has been released. He's been essentially cut by the Philadelphia Eagles today to free up a little bit of cap space. We'll break this story down for you as only we can here on the Thomas Mott show. We're also doing a live show tonight, Wednesday live link, myself, Josh Davis, Philly special show, 7 p.m. Eastern time tonight on my channels. Be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for that because we're going to be breaking all of this down live and taking your questions. But let's go ahead and jump into the news. Adam Schefter has it. Here you go. Quote, Eagles plan to release cornerback Darius Slay per sources. Schefter then quote tweets, Eagles and Darius Slay could not work out a restructured contract and he will be a free agent today at 4 p.m. per sources. And so now one of the key leaders of the Eagles defense, one of the biggest, I'd say, shocks of the Eagles offseason so far is no longer an Eagle. He will enter the free agent market and any team can go sign, yes, a 30-plus-year-old cornerback, but one of the better cornerbacks in the National Football League. And there's a couple of thoughts on this. The first of which is clearly they're trying to free up cap space. This will free up an estimated $4+ million in cap space. Even though he has a very big salary, releasing him is a way to go ahead and reduce a little bit of cap space in 2023. There are more details on that on my Twitter account, which you should follow at RealThomasMont. But they're trying to re-sign CJ Gardner-Johnson. This is very clearly Philadelphia trying to re-sign CJ Gardner-Johnson. And honestly, I bet you Howie Roseman was sitting there early this morning or late last night, and he came down to the decision. We either keep Darius Slay and pay him $17+ million a year this season, again, for a 30-plus-year-old cornerback, or we let him go test the free agent market, and re-sign one of the best safeties in the league in CJ Gardner-Johnson, who's much younger. That's my guess here. Now, I wanted to keep Slay. I told you guys all along I wanted to keep Darius Slay, but I thought they were going to lose James Bradberry. The fact that they re-signed James Bradberry, who is younger and had a very good season last year, opened up the possibility to release Darius Slay. Does it mean it's the right move? Does it mean it's going to pan out for the better? I don't know. But a lot of you guys were in my comment section saying Slay was bad the second half of the year, and I'll still push back and say he was really, really good his entire career in Philadelphia, and this one will hurt. Now, Slay did put out a tweet officially a couple of minutes ago, quote, nothing but love Philly. Let's see where we are heading next. And you got to assume some of these big-name teams that have a lot of cap space, think the Atlanta Falcons, maybe even the Bengals or someone else who needs a cornerback. I'm trying to rack my brain for corner-needy teams right now. Could be looking for Darius Slay. He will not be on the market for very, very long. Now, what this means very clearly, besides CJ Gardner-Johnson, is that Philly should take a cornerback at number 10. And we've been clamoring this on the Thomas Mott show, on Josh Davis's show, the Philly special show, who we're going to link with tonight on the Wednesday link. We think cornerback at 10, and there are three really, really good ones. There's Christian Gonzalez out of Oregon, obviously Devin Witherspoon out of Illinois, and then Joey Porter Jr. out of Penn State. You have three options to choose from, and your scouting report and your front office people should go narrow it down, find the best one, and take your pick, because odds are, with the way the top 10 is shaping out right now in the National Football League, at least in the draft in April, you're going to have 4 quarterbacks go, you're going to have a run on defensive linemen, and Philly sitting at 10 should have their pick of the lot for cornerback. And what people are going to say on Twitter is that Philadelphia is dismantling. I saw multiple tweets saying Philadelphia is crumbling, and yet they seem to forget that they signed a running back yesterday. They brought back Boston Scott. They already got Brandon Graham. They re-signed James Bradberry. They have done a ton of moves that really keep the main core intact. Philadelphia's offense is going to be just as good, if not better, and their defense is still very good defensively. They're the best pass rusher maybe in the NFC, maybe behind Micah Parsons, but it's close, in Hassan Reddick. And if they bring back CJ Gardner-Johnson, the safety position is still very much secure, plus Jordan Davis, plus Nakobe Dean, plus 2 first-round draft picks. And so while we're going to panic in Philadelphia, and while people are going to go absolutely insane on Twitter and start to celebrate and, run some circles around the Eagles and say, oh, the Eagles are absolutely in trouble, the Eagles are nowhere to be found, they're going to be terrible this season, again, you've got to realize that Philadelphia has a plan. This was probably always part of the plan. They wanted to restructure his deal. He was unwilling to take less money, which is understandable when you're a really good cornerback, and money is the name of the game for everybody who works in the United States, that once you weren't able to come to a contract extension, you had to go ahead and let him go, because trading him pre-June 1st means the dead cap money was going to be too big. You have to do a post-June 1st trade, and most teams weren't going to want to do that, including Philadelphia, who would want something in return for this year's draft and not next year's draft. And so, big play Slay is gone. Again, this is... It's a little bit surprising, but it's not necessarily the end of the world for Philadelphia. But I do think you're going to see a lot of people freak out on Twitter. But in the end, you already have a cornerback one in James Bradberry. You just re-signed him to a 3-year deal, very cheap, not even top 15 cornerback money. And if they draft Devin Witherspoon at number number 10, we're going to all forget about this. I truly believe that, and that's not disrespectful to Darius Slay at all. The guy's great. The guy's elite, but you got to get younger eventually. You see this happen for every single NFL team that has a good young core. Eventually, you can't pay everybody, and some people are going to be left to the wayside, and we've already seen Javon Hargrave leave, TJ Edwards go get more money, and now Darius Slay will sign somewhere else. My hope is it's somewhere in the AFC. My hope is that he gets his bag and that we don't have to worry about him in terms of an NFC rival going forward. Now, the other big cut of the day was Ezekiel Elliott of the Dallas Cowboys, and I know a lot of people, at least in the Eagle land, have been very excited about the possibility of signing Zeke Elliott. After the Rashard Penny signing yesterday, this is very unlikely, but according to Clarence Hill, NFLTR's website has this quote: the Dallas Cowboys plan to release running back Ezekiel Elliott as soon as the start of the league year on Wednesday. There have been reports that Dallas could ask Elliott to take a significant pay cut, which he'd have to agree to in order to stay with the Cowboys. Instead, it appears he'll explore his options with a different team in free agency. In my report notes to be a June 1st cut when the move becomes official. And so another very similar situation for a star of similar age, similar talent in the past, but a little more towards the end of his career with a different football team, Zeke Elliott. Now, I know cornerback and running back are different position groups, and everyone will say that Darius Slay is way better, and that is true. But you see another option here is like, we don't want to pay you a lot of money. I mean, he's still sitting on a very expensive base salary of like $9 million this year, and the Cowboys said no. And so Philadelphia, much like Dallas, were in two similar boots, and two fan favorites of the franchise have to go elsewhere. Now, I don't think Philadelphia should sign Zeke Elliott. I'm not going to sit here and claim for that. Other people can do that. I think Philly's fine at the running back spot, paying less than $5 million for all three of their starting running backs. But Zeke will end up somewhere. He will take a pay cut and potentially go try to play for a winner. That way he can get past the divisional round because Dallas seemingly was completely unable to do so. But back to the Slay situation. Again, I want to make it very, very clear as I'm trying to update you and give you the fresh news of what's happening with Darius Slay. I think that overall, this is going to turn out to be a good move for Philadelphia. I mean, look at Kaiser White with this tweet. It just came up. Damn, dog, one of the best teammates I ever had. Keep running your race. Family, God got you, with the finger cross and the heart emoji. And so Eagle players, and even though Kaiser White is no longer one of them, but former Eagle players are letting them know. And so at the same time, it is going to be an interesting day here in Philadelphia. Jeff McClain, this one just came out. Darius Slay's release will be slated post June 1st, an NFL source confirmed, as to spread the remaining money owed to the cornerback over future years. This is the smart move, and you see Howie Roseman not being an idiot. You do post June 1st, you save a little bit more money. He'll still be a dead cap, I'd say, hit going into probably next season and maybe the season after that. I don't know the full details of the contract off the top of my head, but this is the right move overall for Philadelphia. And so, again, we lose another key player, but you have to finish this show with my utter urgence to look at this as a glass half full situation. Philadelphia will still have one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best in the NFC. They still have the best offensive line in the National Football League. They have a very good running game. They are very confident in their three running backs that can, anyone can run behind that offensive line. Top three in the league, NFL receiving core in terms of Goddard and Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. The defensive line is still elite, at least top three in the NFC, probably top five in the National Football League as a whole. Linebacker is going to be a question mark, but it's always a question mark in Philadelphia. And Kobe Dean, he's got a lot of pressure on him. And then the secondary, right now, you have Avonte Maddox. You obviously have James Bradbury. If they can bring back CJ Gardner-Johnson, pair him with Reed Blankenship, and draft a cornerback, this is going to be just as good, if not maybe a little bit better. You can make that argument, depending on what Sean Desai wants to do defensively. So it's an interesting move. I want to hear your thoughts. Thumbs up for me getting this out as quickly as possible. Subscribe, stay tuned, because if the CJ Gardner-Johnson stuff breaks, I'll have it here on the Thomas Mott Show. It's going to be a fascinating day, and we just do it and follow along as we can. I'm Thomas Mott. This is the Thomas Mott Show.